Just in Albany, police have arrested a Troy man in connection with a homicide last week. 3 people were shot early last Wednesday morning. A woman and a 13-year-old were injured. Meanwhile, in Troy, police in the area of 10th Street and Middleburg and Rensselaer Streets yesterday afternoon after a report of shots fired. On scene, they say there was no evidence of a victim being injured, but the investigation's open and ongoing. So if you know something, you're asked to give them a call. Breaking news here at noon, a small plane crashing down near Albany Airport this morning near Maxwell Road. The road is expected to remain closed for the rest of the day. Let's get out live now to CBS 6's Ashley Kusakangi. She is at the scene for us. Ashley, we're learning one person died in this crash. First here at noon, continuing coverage of the massive system outages impacting services across the globe, including right here at CBS 6. That's right. If you watched our newscasts earlier, you may have noticed we were unable to go to commercial break for much of the morning, and lots of our news team locked out of their computers. Now here's a look inside airports across the country from this morning with these blue error screens popping up all over the place from the outage. To head out for your morning commute, gas prices ticking down ever so slightly compared to last week. As Julia pointed out, there really is no cheap gas, but it's all relative, right? We'll take what we can get. Happening now, we're learning another boil water advisory is in effect in the village of Fonda, this time following a water main break that happened this past week. You can see a truck on a home. Yes, that is what we're looking at in the background of this interview that we're trying to get right now. We have a crew on scene speaking with the homeowner of that house. That's right. They say that especially since the pandemic, mental health has been an issue that's really come to the forefront, been exacerbated. So now they're working to this idea of educating the whole child, right? The socioeconomic, speaking with parents, and then of course their traditional school education. But also allow patients and caregivers to have better access to those prevention and treatment options. Cost, of course, is one factor, but another is early detection. The Alzheimer's Association using their Know the 10 Signs campaign to help with that. Congratulations and welcome indeed. And I can relate to this one on a personal note. 48 years ago on the 4th of July in 1976, my grandparents became U.S. citizens as well. Continuing reports of severe thunderstorm warnings issued in parts of Oklahoma where multiple tornadoes were confirmed just last night. They would recruit young dancers from the capital region, right, which is such a wonderful experience because there is truly no company like New York City Ballet. And then you get to participate.
Yeah, and this was you.
That was me, yeah. Can you see? This is just outside of a Chatham on US 9. The only reason I'm flagging it is because that purple means a closure in both directions. So if you're heading north, avoid US 1. You can certainly hear them. This is one of the new events happening here at the fair this year. I'm joined by 2 sea lions. There are several, and they're going to have 2 shows today. A first of its kind, a new report looking at where Latinas stand in New York government and how this growing population is being represented. As a Latina myself, I was curious. In 2020, almost 3 million New Yorkers spoke Spanish, but do our government officials reflect that?
From the New York State Capitol to the U.S. Capitol, a new report taking a look at the role of Latinas in government.
Really provides us a benchmark to see how Latinas are faring in civic society, as well as a call to action to see where there's opportunities to fulfill more leadership roles.
Helen Torres is the CEO of HOPE. That stands for Hispanas Organized for Political Equality.
When you have a governor that's a Latina or Latino, when you have a lieutenant governor, attorney general, controller, you have the opportunity to not only ensure that there's representation of a citizenship of Latinos and Latinas and representing government and their voices, but you also have a reflection of how the multi-ethnic and racial composition of New York is.
That representation yielding impacts beyond just government operations. HOPE found that in 2022, the poverty rate for Latinas was more than double that of white women. That's despite 26% of Latinas aged 25 and older with a bachelor's degree, which is higher than the national average.
That's the beautiful thing of a democracy. Everyone has the opportunity to run for office. What we want to ensure is that we're doing benchmarks and being very conscientious of the fact that if there's voices being missed in our democracy, how are we inclusive? How are we bringing along everyone to ensure that they see their faces, their concerns being represented?
Now, this report focused on elected office, but Torres tells me, especially here in upstate New York, we really need to focus on uplifting Latinos and Latinas to participate in democracy, whether that's through appointed positions or just casting a ballot.
From excitement to terror.
The screams of the people that got hit were like I've never heard before. It was a sad, sad sound.
Aaron Gaza was there in the stands behind former President Donald Trump, the Gloversville resident speaking exclusively with CBS 6.
We're still in disbelief.
Gaza says he's been to a number of rallies before and noted an increased security presence upon arrival at this one in Butler.
Did that raise any red flags with you when you were entering, especially since you've been to other rallies?
No, I was glad to see it. I've never seen that many people in one human gathering.
What did raise concern, though, was Trump's lateness, taking to the stage more than an hour after he was scheduled to do so.
And everybody started to think, what is going on?
But then the speech began as usual. Until beyond a fence on the perimeter of the rally,
All of a sudden, everybody on that line of fence scattered. It was like you turn on lights with cockroaches, just gone. And the screams, the horror of people just screaming. We could hear one person say, he's got a gun, he's got a gun. And then the snipers got armed, and then the police officers started running.
That's when Gaza dropped to the ground. He took this video as he and fellow attendees ducked. The former president rushed off stage.
I think 5 or 10 minutes went by of just staying in that position, just staying low. We were convinced that there was going to be more shots.
Eventually, Gaza says they were given the cue to leave, a mostly silent walk back to the car. Moving forward, Gaza says he doesn't think he'd ever go to a rally or any large gathering again, but he does have a message for those who weren't there.
America's got to come together, and I think I don't necessarily push you to support one candidate or another, but I think violence is certainly not the answer, and just a hatred towards one man or the other is not the American way. And I think it's really sad how far we've come.
For CBS 6 News, I'm Olivia Jaquith.
The boutique store's location on Broadway in downtown Saratoga Springs targeted for the second time in 8 months. This is a highly regulated industry, not only from the gaming aspect, but also in terms of the horses. So can you speak to what the authorities' purpose is and some of those rules and regulations to protect the horses? A concerned neighbor who shot this video claims the man, who we're told has MS, was punched by the officer unprovoked, but police say he was interfering with an arrest. Now, we're told this happened Thursday night following some sort of a dispute over fireworks. And we want to break this down for you. Let's take a better look at that video once again. Thank you for joining us here at noon. I'm Olivia Jaquith. The nation's still searching for answers as a failed assassination attempt on former President Trump at a campaign rally remains under investigation. Fortunately, there's really not too much to watch here. Right now, we're taking a live look over I-87 at I-90, a beautiful sunrise there, and really just the same slowdown that we always see here. This one at 890 to 87, a 12-minute trip there, but everything else looking pretty good.